Hey kiddos, welcome to this week's homework where we are writing and solving inequalities. Let's start with some solutions. Remember, when we're solving inequalities, it's very similar to solving equations, with the difference being that instead of an equal sign, we have an inequality. So first things first, I see some sticky numbers. The opposite of multiply, or the inverse, is to divide. I'm going to divide both of these by 2. A is less than or equal to -8. Coming over here, when I see a fraction, it means divide. The opposite is multiply. I'm going to multiply both sides by 20. This leaves me with B is greater than or equal to 60. Coming down here, sticky numbers, I divide. I'm going to divide both of these by 7. 42 divided by 7 gives me 6 is less than or equal to D. I'm going to multiply to get our opposites here. 9 times -4 is -36 is greater than or equal to C. All right, coming down here, we have -10e and 50. I'm going to divide by -10. Remember that when I divide or multiply by a negative number, it flips my sign. E is greater than -5. I see a fraction. My inverse is to multiply. F is greater than 96. Any questions? Bring them with you to class. All right, kiddos, on to page 2. We are continuing to solve our inequalities using our inverse operations. So I see add 22. I'm going to subtract 22 from both sides. When I do that, I'm left with G. 22 minus 22 cancels out. G is less than or equal to -12. 10 and 22 are opposite signs, so we subtract and keep the sign of the greater number. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. -4 plus 4 leaves me with 0, just giving us an H. H is greater than or equal to 13. I'm going to start with subtracting 16 from both sides. That leaves me with K is greater than or equal to 20, I'm sorry, K is less than or equal to 21. Over here, I have a -J. To be careful with that. I'm going to first start with subtracting my 5 from both sides. Leaves me with -J is greater than or equal to 25. When I have that negative sign, that is the same as saying that I have -1. They're sticky numbers. I'm going to divide both by -1. It's going to leave me J. My sign flips because it's negative, and I get -25. Coming down to the bottom, I am going to subtract 29 from both sides. When I do that, I have 7 and a 1, but it's negative, is greater than -n. Again, that's like a -1. Gonna flip it. 17 is less than n. Over here, subtracting 18 from both sides. When I do that, I have 25 is less than m. Any questions? Bring them with you to class. Excuse me. All right, lovies. Taking it up a notch with some two-step equations, still following the same rules. The only difference is instead of an equal sign, we have an inequality. I'm going to start with subtracting 15 from both sides. That leaves me with 16 and my 4p. Divide both sides by 4. P is less than or equal to 4. Coming over here, I'm going to start with subtracting 60 from both sides. That leaves me with -3q. It's greater than or less than 30. Divide both sides by -3. Negative means we flip. Q is less than or equal to -10. Coming up here, I'm going to start with subtracting 7. When I do that, I get sorry, kiddos. When I do that, I get 17. Leaves me with s over 2. Multiply both sides by 2. when I do that, I am left with 34 is less than or equal to S. It's less than or equal to S. Over here, add 7, add 7. 45 plus 7 is 53. It's greater than or equal to R over 5. Multiply both sides by 5. When I do that, I get 260 is greater than or equal to R. Any questions with these? Make sure you're bringing them to class. I'm sorry, 52. 52. Please excuse my cold brain here today. All right, subtracting 4 from both sides, I'm left with 80 is less than 10t. Divide both by 10, it leaves me with 8 is less than t. Last one, adding 14 to both sides. That gives me a 90 and a 6u. When I take my sticky numbers and I divide them, I end up with 15 is greater than u. Remember, sticky numbers, I divide. Any questions on these, kiddos? Bring them with you to class. All right, let's talk about writing our inequalities. Remember, take these step by step. Ask yourself, what are they asking me to do? Add, subtract, multiply, divide. And what are they asking me to use? It says a number is no less than 18. Pull your parts out. Now, no less than 18 means that the minimum number is 18. And it's no less, meaning that it has to be bigger. N is greater than or equal to 18. A number more than 92. Which one is greater? The number. N is greater than 92. 9, take away a number, is at least 53. 9, take away a number, 53. It has to be at least 53. So we're going to say that 9, take away a number, is going to be greater than or equal to 53 because it has to be at least 53. Over here, a number is less than 27. Straightforward. A number is less than 27. 6 times a number is less than 30. And 40 is greater than a number plus 2. Any questions on these? Bring it with you to class. All right, loves, last page. A number, take away 8, is no greater than 71. So it's no greater than 71. That means that it's 71 or smaller. Once we wrote that, now we can solve it. Add 8 to both sides. N is less than or equal to 79. Over here, 2 times a number is at least 36. So that means it's 36 or greater. Solve it. Divide both sides by 2. N is greater than or equal to 18. Down here, 7 plus 4 times a number is greater than 23. Add 7 to both sides. I'm sorry, subtract 7 from both sides. When we do that, we get 16. Divide both by 4. N is greater than 4. 10 is greater than a number divided by 5. Multiply both sides by 5. 50 is greater than N. 2 times a number plus 4 is less than 18. Minus 4. 2N is less than 14. Divide by 2. N is less than 7. A number divided by 8 plus 6 is at least 46. So the smallest it can be is 46. Subtract 6. N divided by 8 is greater than or equal to 40. Times by 40. I'm sorry, times by 8. times by 8. So n is greater than or equal to 320. All right, loves, any questions? As always, bring them with you to class. Have a good weekend.